What's up, everybody? It's Scott from the Fantasy Boutique, bringing you the third installment of Under Par, where I'm going to recap last week's Honda Classic, give a course breakdown of this week's event, the World Golf Championship Mexico, and give you my 4x4, four golfers that will be in my core group of golfers for lineup construction on FanDuel and DraftKings, as well as four golfers who I feel are value targets that are either flying under the radar or trending in the right direction heading into this week. Before we get into that, let's talk about this past weekend's Honda Classic, where we saw Justin Thomas defeat Luke List in a playoff hole. Both finished 8 under. Justin Thomas obviously won. He also got a patron removed from the tournament for heckling him on a couple of holes leading up to the finish. So let me just touch on that real quick. Did Justin Thomas overreact by having the patron removed? Probably. But from his post-tournament press conference, it wasn't just an isolated incident. It seemed like it had been happening for the last few holes of the tournament. There's really no place in golf for heckling the golfers, whether it's before, during, after the shot. It might be contributed to Tiger Woods coming back. According to the Honda Classic, there was 220,000 people that were on hand for the weekend. Viewership and interest in golf in general is actually growing, so you're probably going to see a bunch of casual fans making their way to the golf course, which in turn leads to them heckling. If you go back to the Genesis Open, Justin Thomas was actually paired with Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy in rounds 1 and 2, and similar things happened in those rounds, and Rory McIlroy actually himself had a fan removed for heckling Justin Thomas. So speaking of Tiger, we saw Tiger getting close to being the Tiger of old. He posted a T12, easily his best finish in a couple of years. His approach game was on point. He was magnificent on the green, putting. If things continue to go this way, it's a definite possibility that he's a contender come early April in Augusta at the Masters. He struggled on the bear trap, which pretty much everybody seemed to do. He was 8 over par on holes 15, 16, 17. I haven't seen an official number yet, but after round 3, there was 127 balls that got hit into the water on those 3 holes, whereas only 128 balls the rest of the tournament found the water on the rest of the course. Rounds 1 and 2 of the Honda Classic was absolute carnage as the wind kicked up. The course played extremely hard. The cut ended up being +5. Some popular DFS plays missed the cut, like Ricky Fowler, Tyrell Hatton, Kevin Kisner, Sam Saunders, Chesson Hadley, Russell Knox, Patton Kazire, and some others like Martin Keimer had to withdraw because of injuries. For myself, I took a loss on DK. I was unable to get six golfers through into the weekend. I had a handful of lines that had 5 or 6 go through, but I just didn't have guys that were high enough on the leaderboard to actually break into the cash. The cash lines didn't fare much better because a lot of the guys that I played were, some of the chalkier plays, Fowler, Hadley, those guys that missed the cut. So it was just a rough all-around weekend on DraftKings for PGA. Thankfully, I recouped pretty much all of the money that I lost on NASCAR. So give us a check out on Fantasy Boutique for NASCAR with Jay. Does an excellent job breaking down, giving us game theories, pointing us to drivers to possibly be on. As for FanDuel, I actually ended up in the green thanks to having JT in my core. I ended up going with the core of Justin Thomas, Brian Harmon, Jason Duffner, Ollie Schneider-Jans, and Russell Knox in GPPs. All of them but Knox made the cut, and then I finished out the 6th golfer with some of my value players from last week, and then I actually got onto a guy after the recording of the show last week. of Emiliano Grillo, who finished T8. My plays in general, Sergio Garcia was a T33, Russell Knox missed a cut, Brian Harman was a T33, and Ali Schneider-Jans was a T64. The value plays that I mentioned, Chris Kirk was a T33, Vaughn Taylor, T59, and Sean O'Hare and Billy Horschel both missed the cut. Now on to this week. A select few golfers are going to head to Mexico, where they're going to experience sunny skies, high altitudes, Montezuma's revenge, and probably some drug cartels. The WGC-Mexico event is held at the Club de Golf Chapultepec, just outside Mexico City for the second year. It's a no-cut event with only 65 golfers being present out of the 70 that actually qualified. In order to qualify for the WGC Mexico, you have to place either in the top 50 of the official World Golf Rankings, top 30 on the FedEx Cup, top 20 on the European Tour, or finish top 2 in some of these smaller tours like the Asian Tour, the Japan Golf, the Australia, Asia, or the Sunshine Tour. The course is a par 71 that spans 7,300 yards. The elevation at the course is a little over 7,800 feet above sea level, which is going to affect the way the golf ball travels. You can expect the distances of these golfers that they hit the ball. It's probably going to increase the distance 15 to 20% higher than it would be at sea level. So in actuality, the course is actually going to be playing more like 6,500 yards, if not less, which is really short for golf standards. The majority of the holes in the course are tree-lined, narrow fairways. The greens are poana that are undulating. So that's going to keep, the score somewhat in check. Just like Dustin Johnson won last year here at 14 under. The rough is Kikuyu grass, as we've seen at the Genesis Open in Riviera. It's thick, it's nasty. It's kind of tough to judge the way the ball is going to come out of the grass. Expect many of the golfers to go less than driver this weekend. Key stats that I'm looking for are strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained putting, birdie or better percentage, bogey avoidance, just like I do every week. I'm also going to factor in some strokes gained ball striking, as it's a second shot course. Birdie or better conversion percentage, which is the percent of time a golfer makes birdie or better after hitting the green in regulation. Par 5 scoring, there were 34 eagles made here last year, and all three of the par 5s play almost a full shot under par on average per round. Average proximity is the approach shots are spread out pretty evenly between 100 to 125 yards, 150 to 175, and 200 plus yards. And then good drive percentage, as it's pretty crucial to be able to find the fairway and or hit greens in regulation. And lastly, scrambling, because of the tree-lined fairways, the grass, the undulating greens, possibly being able to miss those on approach shots. So there's a definite possibility that the shot or the scores, you can end up with a double bogey or worse on a lot of the holes. As for my picks this week, we're going to start off with Sergio Garcia. He is 11,400 on FanDuel, 9,100 on DK. Odds to win the tournament of 28 to 1. Last week was his first appearance on the PGA Tour for the year, and he finished T33. He was basically hurt by the putter. He lost almost over 3 strokes for the against the field on the greens. As we know, putting is very variant, so you can kind of expect that to change pretty quickly. Or there's a lot of chance that you can putt bad one week, it's gonna be the exact opposite or fix itself pretty quickly, and he can, putt better the next week. He gained almost 7 strokes on the field in approach and in approaches, and his ball striking is one of the aspects of the golf swing that tends to stay consistent for long periods of time. I expect the rust to be off for Sergio and him to build off the 12th pace finish that he had last year. When you look at the odds versus his official world golf ranking, it's actually a little bit negative. He's 7th in the field in his rank according to the official world golf ranking. He's 10th in odds to win the tournament. And then when you look at the odds, he's actually priced 8th in FanDuel and 9th in DraftKings. So if you relate those to the odds versus pricing, he's might be a tad overpriced, maybe right spot on. So they did a pretty good job with pricing for Sergio this week. He ranks 4th in the field in average proximity, 9th in par 4 birdie or better percentage, 11th in strokes gained tee to green, and 13th in strokes gained ball striking, which is a combination of strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained approach. The next golfer is Tommy Fleetwood. He's 11,300 on FanDuel, 10,000 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament at 12-1. This is Tommy's 3rd tournament in North America since coming over from the European Tour. He finished 37th at the Genesis Open, 4th last week at the Honda Classic, so he's trending in the right direction. He finished 2nd here last year after a scorching 4th and final round. The last 2 tournaments, he's gained over 13 strokes on the field in off the tee and in approaches. I expect him to be fairly popular again this week. His odds to win compared to his official world golf ranking is it's slightly better. He's the 8th ranked golfer in the field, 6th best odds to win the tournament. He's a slightly better option on FanDuel, where he's the 9th priced golfer. He's ranked number 1 in the field in strokes gained tee to green and good drive percentage. He's 4th in strokes gained ball striking, and he's 15th in average proximity and scrambling. Fleetwood's odds 12-1. Cantlay, next golfer, he's 10,000 on FanDuel, 8,700 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament at 33-1. He's making his first appearance at the World Golf Championship Mexico. He's coming off a 4th place finish at the Genesis, which has the Poana greens and the Kikuyu grass. So although they're not comp courses as far as the way that they're set up, the layout, all that, the green rough setup is the same. And him being a California kid, he has played on the Poana greens, and he's had success at the Genesis. He's favorable odds versus rankings. He's a 29th ranked golfer in the field. He's got the 12th best odds to win. He has a plus seven rating on FanDuel for the odds versus pricing. He's even on DraftKings, so he's probably a better play on FanDuel, but I like him on both sites. He's 4th in the field in par 5 scoring, 5th in par 5 birdie or better, 12th in strokes gained ball striking, 13th in strokes gained tee to green, 13th in birdie or better conversion percentage, and he's 14th in greens and regulation and birdie or better percentage. The last golfer in my core group is Xander Schauffler. He's 8,800 on FanDuel, 7,800 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament, 55-1. I kind of have a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for Xander for DFS playing. I rode him a ton last year when on FanDuel he was, they had 8 golfers set up last year. He spent a lot of the year like under 6K on FanDuel. So I won a fair amount of money on him, especially last year in the U.S. Open, where he finished top 5 at like a really low price. He's coming in 9th place finish at the Genesis Open, and just like Cantlay, he's a California kid, so he putts better on Poana. Also making his first appearance at the World Golf Championship Mexico. He's 17th ranked player in the field. He's at 20th best odds to win the tournament. He's more favorably priced on FanDuel compared to DraftKings. Like I said, he's got the 20th best odds to win the tournament, but he's ranked 38th in pricing on FanDuel and 28th or 24th on DraftKings. So FanDuel, he's more favorably priced, but he's actually underpriced as well on DraftKings if you compare, odds versus pricing. He's third in the field in par 4 birdie or better percentage, 11th in birdie or better conversion percentage, and 14th in par 5 scoring average. The next group of guys are the value targets, and just like I said, these guys are guys that might be a little flying under the radar or trending in the right direction heading into this week. The first guy is Matthew Fitzpatrick. He's 9,400 on FanDuel, 7,600 on DraftKings. Odds to win a tournament 60-1. Knowledgeable DFS golf fans know that Fitzpatrick's actually a really accomplished golfer on the European Tour. That might give us a little bit of an edge compared to, people that don't follow the European Tour, just regular DFS golf fans. So I'm expecting him not to be highly owned this week. Fitzpatrick isn't long off the tee, and he relies more on his accuracy and greens and regulation to make his money. Those two attributes are going to help him this week with the tree-lined fairways, the undulating greens, finding yourself in the fairway, being able to hit the greens and regulation. He finished 16th here last year in his last 2 European Tour events. He's got a missed cut and a third-place finish, although they were 5 and 6 weeks ago. He's a 25th ranked golfer in the field, compared to the world golf rankings. He's got the 23rd best odds to win the tournament. He's got pretty similar value on FanDuel and DraftKings. He's the 23rd best or 23rd ranked golfer based on odds. He's got a plus 7th rating. He's 30th priced golfer on FanDuel. He's a 28th priced golfer on DraftKings. He's second in the field in par 4 birdie or better percentage, third in par 4 scoring average, 6th in scrambling, 8th in bogey avoidance, and he's 14th in birdie or better conversion percentage. The next golfer is Dylan Frittelli. He's 8,800 on FanDuel, 8,200 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament 60-1. Frittelli made his 2018 Tour debut last week at the Honda Classic. Finished an 11th place finish, which is pretty impressive. He was a monster in all aspects of the game for, his all-around game, from tee to green. He gained over 3 strokes on the field off the tee, almost 4 strokes on approaches, over 4 strokes putting, and a total of 5 strokes tee to green. Before coming over to the States, he had a stretch of 4 straight European Tour events where he finished top 20 or better, and a 5th and 6th place finish in his last 2. He's got favorable odds to win the tournament as he's the 26th ranked golfer, but he's got the 26th best odds to win a tournament, but he's the 40th ranked golfer in the field. He's underpriced on FanDuel as he's the 39th priced golfer compared to having the 26th best odds to win a tournament, so a plus 13 rating. And then on FanDuel or DraftKings, he's actually overpriced. He's the 18th priced golfer, so I have him down as a negative 8 rating. The third golfer is Adam Hadwin. He's 9,000 on FanDuel, 7,600 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament at 60-1. This time last year is right about the time that Hadwin starting to get hot. Things are trending in the right direction for him as he leads into defending his title at the Valspar Championship next week. He's coming off a 6th place finish at the Genesis on a course that I don't think really fits his game. And then he also has a T3 at the Career Builder a few weeks before that. Just for comparison's sakes, he finished 2nd last year at the Career Builder and 34th in the Genesis Open before he went on to win at Valspar, which is next week. At Genesis, he gained over 10 strokes tee to green, 2.5 strokes off the tee, 4.6 strokes on approach, 3.4 strokes around the green. And then he lost a little over half a stroke putting. Isn't one thing that Hadwin excels at. He just does a lot of things really good. So that's why most weeks he's not going to pop in the models or on the your sheets for statistics. He's got favorable odds versus his rank. He's the 45th ranked player in the field. He is the 32nd best odds to win the tournament. He's priced pretty appropriately on both sites. He's the 32nd according to odds, but he's the 34th priced golfer on FanDuel, 33rd on DraftKings. He's actually 7,500. I don't know why I said he's priced 7,600 on DK, but all in all, I think he's a good play. Probably going to be lesser owned as you're not going to if you want to play some of the studs, you can probably fit him in your lineup as a lower price guy. Last golfer is Russell Henley. He is 8,900 on FanDuel, 7,400 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament 75-1. Henley's game relies heavily on his ball striking ability. I feel confident in running him out there this week for that very reason. I've had mixed results with him in the past. I've rostered him on courses where I think his game sets up perfectly, and then he proceeds to go out and miss the cut. So we don't have to worry about this week. It's a no-cut event, so he's gonna play all 4 rounds unless he gets that Montezuma's revenge and has to withdraw for sickness or whatever else. He's making his first appearance at the WGC-Mexico. He's coming off the 24th place finish last week at the Honda Classic and a 5th place finish at the AT&T Pebble Beach, which are both ball strikers courses. He's got a plus 10 rating on the odds versus official world golf ranking model. He's the 48th ranked golfer, but the 38th best odds to win the tournament. He's priced accordingly on both sites. Odds versus pricing, 38th odds, 36th on pricing on FanDuel, and then he's 37th priced on DraftKings. He's 9th in the field in good drive percentage and 4th in average proximity. Once again, my core plays are Tommy Fleetwood, Sergio Garcia, Patrick Cantlay, and Xander Schauffler. My value targets, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Dylan Frittelli, Adam Hadwin, and Russell Henley. Now's a great time to join the Fantasy Boutique. PGA is in full swing. NASCAR is off to a great start. We've seen a ton of boutique money won the last 2 races. NHL is winning almost daily. So come join now to get access to our Slack site, weekly cheat sheets, write-ups, player pools. For PGA, NASCAR, MMA, NFL, and NBA, MLB, and NFL. Please like, share, comment on the video below. And be sure to give me a follow on Twitter at Boutique PGA, as well as the Fantasy Boutique at DFS Boutique. At the Fantasy Boutique, we tailor your game to be a profitable DFS winner each and every day. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week for the Valspar Championship.